Okay, what I will be making are turkey spinach meat cakes, and I have some extra ingredients I'll be adding into this dish. This is a 4-serving dish, and basically we'll go ahead and get started with the ingredients. For our main ingredient is, of course, turkey, and this is 1 pound of ground turkey. You can use whatever type of meat you like, however. We have 5 ounces of chopped spinach, and you can buy this by the bunch or you can buy it by the bag. I particularly bought this kind, and then I just diced or chopped it up, I should say, myself. And then for our dry ingredients for seasoning, we have 1/2 teaspoon each of thyme and rosemary. Then we have a 1/2 teaspoon of seasoning salt, black pepper, and then 1 tablespoon of garlic. And you may have to adjust your salt according to how you want this. Ground turkey does take a little bit more doctoring up as far as seasoning, in my opinion, so we may be adding some kosher salt to this as well. Then we also have 1 ounce each of yellow diced onion and red bell pepper in there. 1 or 2 ounces each of some rice that I had frozen, and this here particular type of rice was a Spanish rice, but it doesn't matter what kind. You can put the rice as a side dish also for this, but I just had a little bit extra, so I figured I'd just put it into the patty. And then also we have about 3/4 ounce of light whipped butter, melted down, that we're going to put in there because ground turkey is a little drier, doesn't have as much fat in it, so we're just going to add that light butter to give it a little bit more moisture as far as fat in there. And then this here is a was a Hidden Valley Ranch salad topping packet that I processed down into more like a breadcrumbs. Like these will be seasoned very well. They consisted of croutons, dried tomato, dehydrated tomatoes, I should say, and then some other type of Italian seasonings that were to be used as salad toppers, but they were in large pieces, and I don't like large pieces and crunchy things too much, so I just processed those down, and I'm going to use them as like a filler or breadcrumb equivalent per se for this. So we'll go ahead and get started, and my oven has preheated to 350, and I'll be baking these patties. It is a 4-serving dish, 4 to 5 depending on how big you make the patties, or you can put these on a skillet on the stove top as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, what I'm going to do with this is put all of our dry ingredients in here and our vegetable seasonings. Okay, and our garlic, and our onion and red bell pepper goes in there. I'm going to add our butter, and basically I'm just mixing all this up. I'm going to add half of that butter now, and then the other half after I put the spinach in there. I'll put the rice and bread crumbs in there, or the salad crumbs I should say, put those in there once we have the spinach in there. So as I mentioned, I'd be adding a little bit of salt, kosher salt in there. And what I'm going to do is add half of this spinach, start mixing this around a little bit. And you just want to fold that turkey meat in there. This is going to be quite a green type of dish. And I'm also going to optionally add a little bit of liquid egg white to this. And that's just gonna, you want it to have kind of like a meatloaf consistency. So instead of using an egg, I'll add an egg white. Okay. So I'll go ahead and get the rest of this spinach in here. You don't have to use this much spinach, but I want it quite a bit in there for the vegetable portion of this. You won't have to make a side with this if you use enough a veggie side, I should say, if you use enough spinach. And I'll go ahead and mix this up, and we'll come back and add the egg white and our other ingredients and go ahead and get these babies into patties. See you back in a few minutes. Okay, so there we have our ingredients pretty much mixed up to the consistency we want. So our remaining ingredients would be our 4 ounces total of the rice, and then our Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning that we had, or salad toppers, I should say. I'm going to add a little bit more salt to this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add the rice. And basically this is a dish that you just basically mix up, make into the patties, and let it do what it does in the oven. I'm going to add a little bit of egg white in there. And that's just for a filler to hold everything, help hold everything together. And we'll go ahead and add our crumbs in there. And at this point, I'm going to add butter too. The rest of our butter. And I'm going to give this a little tossing around, kind of get that mixed up. And you still want to make a side with this. Now, had I added more rice to this dish, I wouldn't have to make a side, but you still want to make some type of side to go with this if you choose to. You don't have to, but make it more of a meal, filling meal if you do. Okay, we'll go ahead and add the rest of our crumbs in there. Alright, we'll go ahead, I'll make these into patties, and we'll come back and get these babies in the oven. And you only have to bake these in a preheated oven about 20 minutes or so. Just depend on the firmness that you want. Ground turkey does tend to be a little bit more moist, so but it will dry out quick too, so you do want to make sure, kind of keep an eye on it to make sure they're not too soft to where they tear up, and they're not too dry to where you can't hardly cut them with a fork. You want to be able to cut these with a fork with ease. Alright, so we'll go ahead, that's mixed up, and I'll go ahead again, as I mentioned, and make the patties. We'll come back and put these in the oven, and as I mentioned, you can also stovetop or pan fry these like you do burgers. See you back in a few minutes. Okay, now here we have our patties. They're ready to go in the oven. These are 4.5 ounce patties a piece. So I tried to do 4 ounces, but there was a little bit of meat left and spinach mixture, so I just made them into 4.5 ounce sizes. Now I'm going to go ahead and add Worcestershire sauce on the tops of these. I could have put it in the meat, but I chose not to because it does have a tendency to make them tear up sometimes when you go to take them out. So I'm just going to put this over the top, and then when I take them out and check them and I flip them over, I'll put the other on some more on the other side. So we'll go ahead and bake these, and the oven is preheated. We'll bake them for about 15 minutes. You can bake these actually uncovered, or you can cover them up. It's just up to you, but I'm going to bake them uncovered, and then we'll go back and check them in 15 minutes. Okay, here's our burgers, and as you can see, they're still a little soft, but we can flip those still with ease without them tearing up too much, I should say. Those are flipping pretty good. Nothing tore in half or anything, so that's always good. Okay. And then, as I mentioned, I'm going to put gravy over these when I serve them, and we'll put their Worcestershire on this side. Go ahead and put them back in the oven for about another 20-25 minutes, and then they'll be ready to go. Well, there you have it, the finished product. And those came out just fine. They're nice and soft, but they won't tear up when you pick them up. A little bit they do, I should say, but they're really good. They came out of the pan just fine with the spatula. And this made 2, 4, 6 patties. So, and those are nice size. So those will make, I would say, 3 to 4 servings, depending on if you eat 2 of these, possibly 5 servings if you're only going to eat 1 at a time. They are 4.5 ounces a piece. Cooked down, they're probably close to 4 ounces. So go ahead and check these out.